What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, well, that was lightning. Seems that Nintendo plans to release a successor to the Switch in the later half, the second half, that's it, of 2024. The Nintendo gods are angry that I'm talking about it, obviously. Anyway, there's been a lot of kind of speculation. I think this news came out yesterday or whatever, but my question is, it seems that they're kind of sticking to the same format, portable and ability to plug into your TV. The Switch format. They're literally, why the console is called the Switch is what they're doing again. Except, you know, different hardware, more powerful, obviously. A regular LCD screen to keep costs down. You know, all the smart moves, all the things you expect from Nintendo in a new system. And they'll eventually do an OLED model, probably. So I'm thinking, as far as how much more powerful will it be, speculation is that it's going to be PS4, Xbox One type power. And you're like, well, for a Switch, that's not bad because literally half of this generation has been cross-gen anyway. All PlayStation games have been PlayStation 4 games. The PS5 library is all PlayStation 4 games. You could probably run Ratchet & Clank on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Just saying. So that's a good look. They know what they're doing because they're creating what they do is, Nintendo, is that they make a console that will not lose them money. They charge enough so that they make money on each console. That's kind of their mandate. And so, in turn, the consoles have to be a little less powerful, but they figure out a way to squeeze all the goodness out of them. So, you get good games. And the thing also is that the expectation is there. The expectation is that, yeah, it's not gonna be the most powerful, but we like the games because they make good games, Nintendo. So that's why they can do this. Sony can't do this because they have set a precedent for power, cinematic sad dad walking simulators, movie type games, cinematic games. If they veer from that, their fans go crazy. And that's what's happening right now with PlayStation because they're trying to make some money and they haven't been focusing on the money-making games. They've been focusing on what has garnered the attention or the love of their fans when they should have been concentrated on making money and making good games. Nintendo has found that balance. They have had the ability to keep their IPs fresh, and that's, you know, it's a family friendly ecosystem. Not ecosystem, but the game library is family friendly. You got, you know, Mario and Link, Zelda and Kirby and all of that, and all the offshoots, and they use their IPs wisely. And they make different types of games, but they're still fun and they're still cute. And when you do a specific art style or art direction, you don't need to have ray trace this and all this stuff. Although ray tracing makes everything looks better. Everything looks better with ray tracing. I will say that. So once these consoles get to a point where ray tracing is able to be had easily without, you know, breaking the bank or breaking, you know, something has to give as far as the technology. So once that happens, then we're gonna see a jump, a super jump. Like when games went from 2D to 3D, I think it'll be a similar jump to that. Although all the tricks that they use now are like baking the light and all that stuff. It takes too much time. That's why Destiny is such a hot mess, because when they change something, they have to rebake all the light because they don't use real-time ray tracing and stuff like that. They have to rebake the light to make the environments look good, and it takes forever to do that. So, but, you know, Nintendo isn't worried about that right now. And so, you know, if you look at like the Mario movie that came out, you know, I haven't seen it yet, but, you know, just by looking at the commercials, like when will we be able to play a game with that quality of graphics from the Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one that just came out, on a Nintendo system? That's my question. I'm gonna be like probably 2 generations from now. 2 generations from now. Because that's ray tracing, that's high, that's 4K at least. Or you can probably get away with 1440p or whatever. But, you know, it's interesting to think about the different technologies and the approach that Nintendo takes, because, you know, let's not forget, Nintendo is from, NES and all, and they've done some nefarious dealings in business and stuff. But when we're just talking about hardware and their first party and how they handle the games that they produce, I think everyone should look at what they do and take some lessons. You know, they're literally showing you how to do it. Like, yo, make a cool character, make it a fun game, make it easy, Now, I think Microsoft is closer with more of their IPs to a Nintendo than Sony is. Sony has 2. Sony has Ratchet and Clank, and Sony has Astrobot. That's it. Name me something else. They lost Spyro, they lost Crash Bandicoot, even though those games were a little sus. I think Crash needs to turn into an open world, not on rails game, and Spyro kind of is already, but it should be a bigger game. But, you know, Sony, like I said, has this reputation of having these cinematic games, serious games, mature games. And it works fine, but you cannot sustain a hardware console generation with just that. And that's what they've been doing. And people have been asking Sony, get us the Astrobot. We want Astrobot for the PSVR 2. It's like people are literally saying, this is what we want. And Sony's like, no, games to service, that's what we're doing. It's like, yo, they're telling you what they want to buy. All you have to do is make it. And Sony's just like, we don't care, we making what we gonna make because we need to make money. I have little faith in Sony's ability to make a games to service game that will hit or that they will stick with, because they haven't done it since. They haven't done it yet. All their games, like I said before in a video before, Dreams was the only game that they kind of supported, and they messed that up too, because it was only on PlayStation. It's like, why would I buy a PlayStation to use a game builder? That's a PC, that is literally a PC program. You can say app if you want to, but when it's on PC, it's a program. That's how I like. Anyway, it's executionable. But anyway, it's like, I understand. I understand Sony's prime directive, and that's to sell consoles. That the bottom line for Sony is sell consoles. This is how you sell consoles. This is exclusives and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, archaic. That's old school in a bad way. They're not adapting. You have to diversify where your money's coming from. Now, they started it this generation because they realized, oh shoot, if we put it on PC, we can make more money too. But they're still not doing that right either. They're lucky that PC gamers aren't worried about day and date stuff, or like, you know, playing it right away, because they have all kind of other stuff to play. But if they would put those games out day and date on PC as well, they would sell more games. But they're still so focused on selling consoles that it's like, don't they make more money off of games, right? You would imagine. I mean, not they're like $200 million games, but smaller games. If you put out a Vampire Survivor that 1 or 2 guys, or, you know, however many people made, and it's blowing up, even if it's $3 or what, it's still, everybody played that game. That game made money. And Sony's spending all this crazy money on, look, I would say this, it's okay to have one of those games like a generation if you want to be like that. But the problem with what Sony did is that they made that their hallmark. Every game that comes from Sony first party needs to be like that. Needs to be super cinematic and $200 million money spent budget. I'm like, why? It doesn't have to be that way. Most games that people play are not that expensive to make. The games that most people are playing are not the $200 million games. And if you look at like Steam charts or whatever, look at the top game. It's not a $200 million game because all those games are single player anyway. You look at the smaller indie games, or you look at the roguelites, a lot of roguelikes and lights, and multiplayer games. That's why Microsoft has, I think they said they had 10 games that have over 10 million players or something each. I forgot what they had said, but you think about how many games Microsoft and Xbox has as far as being games of service games, which is really just a fancier way of saying it's a multiplayer game, servers and such. No, you got Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Forza, whatever the latest Forza Horizon 5, Forza Motorsport's coming up, Flight Simulator. There's more, I just can't think of it. I mean, I just named 6 off the bat, right? So it's definitely a difference in strategy. But I mean, look, I'm no strategist, I'm no business person, and I can see, I mean, you've heard the term diversify your portfolio, right? Sony's starting to do that now. Too late. It's too late. They got Insomniac, right? Insomniac is doing all the work over there at Sony, for the most part. They're putting out so much, their output is so high that you look at all the other studios, all the big studios, first party Santa Monica and Guerrilla, and like, what are y'all doing? They are almost on their 6th game. They had Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, an unannounced game, and I think there was something else, I can't remember. I think they have 3 studios now in Insomniac doing 3 different projects. And so I'm like, why is this one studio breaking their backs? Meanwhile, Guerrilla, what's Guerrilla doing? Oh, they're doing a games of service Horizon version game. I'm like, who asked for that? Nobody asked for the PSVR 2. Nobody asked for the Q Lite. Sony's out of their mind. I'm just a little dinky YouTuber that ain't got no subs really, and I just wonder, are we seeing the implosion of Sony in slow motion before our eyes? Possibly. I mean, it's not going to happen like right away, obviously, because they're too powerful, they're too big in the industry. But it seems like stuff is changing. You see a lot of Kojima, Xbox. I think I saw a tweet today that said that the Xbox marketing team's over there at Kojima Productions. So that's big news. Hello. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about this whole, the Nintendo new system. I think it's going to be called the Super Switch. That's what they should call it. It's definitely going to be a Switch since it's going to be the same type of console. Super Switch. Switch 2 is dumb. Call it the Super Switch. And then, yeah. That's it. People, I was listening to Danny and his wife, Rihanna, Danny Pena from Game Attack Radio. And it was like, no, don't name it that, name it something else. And so I was like, no, you can't change it. If the product is operating similarly to its predecessor, the whole Wii and Wii U thing, that was a disaster. I heard there were rumors of calling it a Switch U. That's stupid. Don't do that. Super Switch or Switch 2 or Switch, not Switch Pro, because they've been calling the OLED version that. So I say Super Switch. It's alliteration. It rolls off the tongue. It's reminiscent back to the Super Nintendo. Come on, it's simple. It's written out. It's already written out for you. And it's literally a Super Switch. It is the name Super Switch is literally what it is. A better Switch, more powerful Switch, and that's what they need to do. Don't confuse people. People understand super size, Super Switch. It's not hard. Super Nintendo's, Super Sony. Anyway, let me know in the comments below about this whole new system and how do you think Sony is adapting to what's going on in the industry and all the other things. And whatever else you feel like talking about is fine. Just hit me up in the comments. I read them all, remember. And you'll always get it from me. But I appreciate y'all. And I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Till the weed.